Thank you, Handel. Good evening, and welcome to tonight's regional news. We now start with a story involving a Guyanese man. A Guyanese man accused of murdering a beloved 92-year-old Queen's cat lady told cops he gets uncontrollable urges and killed her because of pent-up anger at his family. Riaz Khan, 21, confessed to the heinous slaying of elderly Maria Fuertes after authorities picked him up Thursday night and hauled into the 106th precinct, where he was arrested and hit with the murder and sex abuse charges, sources said. Khan told cops that he was abused his whole life and was upset that he had to move to the U.S. with his family from Guyana, a source said. Fuertes, who sources say was strangled, was found mortally wounded and lying on the sidewalk at Liberty Avenue and 127th Street in Richmond Hill, just a block away from her home around midnight Monday. Medics rushed the Nigerian to Jamaica Hospital Medical Center, but she could not be saved. Khan followed Fuertes from Liberty Avenue, where he came up behind her, threw her to the ground, and attacked and sexually assaulted her, police said. Queens District Attorney Melinda Katz said the victim was found with her clothes pulled above her waist and near dead, and called the slaying a senseless, brutal act of violence. Fuertes was out in the late hour picking up bottles from the streets as part of her regular routine to feed cats, according to sources. Harrison said that Fuertes suffered concussions around the neck and some injuries around her private area. He faces 25 years to life behind bars if convicted of the crime. We now turn to news from Trinidad and Tobago. As the PNM administration prepares to ask the population for a second term in office, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley is asking that citizens not judge his administration solely on the out-of-control murder rate, even though he admitted that his government has not been successful on crime. Runaway crime has been one of the failings that have tarnished the PNM administration's record of office, with more than 2,000 citizens being killed under their watch. Since the PNM took office in 2015, murders moved from 463 in 2016 to 538 in 2019. Last year's figure represented the second highest murder toll in the country's history. Although Dr. Keith Rowley is optimistic that citizens will notice results in the coming weeks and months, he also believes that the entire country is underestimating the challenge posed by criminals. That position contrasts that taken in the PNM's 2015 manifesto, where it criticized the UNC for a murder count that exceeded 400, lamenting that violent crime was out of control. And finally, for news in Jamaica. Despite the pleas for patience and restraint by a mother-like elderly woman to whom he turned for counsel oftentimes, Jamaica Defense Force Corporal Doran Mackenzie defied her earnest appeal moments before gulping down a final drink, intoxicated with deadly anger. Giving her name as Miss Fate, the confidant said that Mackenzie had often vowed that he would slay his practical nurse partner, Subian Easy, citing infidelity grievances. But the bartending counselor said she thought that she had outed the fiery rage flickering in his eyes during their final rap session on Saturday night. Mackenzie, 33, a soldier for more than a decade, later proceeded to his home on 23rd Pathway and killed 34-year-old Easy, whose body was riddled with chop and bullet wounds. He took his own life shortly afterwards. The couple, according to Miss Fate, endured a stormy relationship which played out on Saturday night at his favorite waterhole, where Easy is said to have called him about 7 times. Easy, she said, appeared to know that she was destined to die. Miss Fate said that her husband had tried to intervene in the explosive relationship and had urged Mackenzie to walk away. Her husband and Mackenzie had planned to even go house hunting on Sunday. Mackenzie leaves behind 2 children. And that was all for tonight's regional news. Thank you for joining, and back to you, Handel.